Well, good morning again, gang. All right, it's been 2 weeks, and I figured I'd come out and show you what the results are from the electroculture experiment that we have. If you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, we put the little copper coils in the garden around different plants and stuff like that to see what kind of effect we had on the plants whatsoever. So let's take a look at all of them. If you want to go back and watch that video to see where we started, you can see what the results are. So let's start here, and I'm just going to kind of go in the same order I went before. But the first one right there, I put a coil in between 4 bell pepper plants. And if I back this out a little bit, you'll see the plants look fine. Okay. However, they are not growing any significantly more than any of the other plants. And I mean, there's a couple of them right there that are 3 feet away that are bigger than the ones that we put around. And we can say, okay, the coil is south of these plants and north of those plants. So not seeing any difference. It certainly doesn't do anything for pests because I'm still seeing the holes on here. You can see these are the ones right nearby. So I got out here and sprayed it with some neem oil yesterday. We'll see how that plays out. Now, the one thing that I did notice, I have 1 pepper starting right there, and that is there. Now, it's a smaller plant, but it's got a pepper on it. So, could that be making a difference? Possibly. We'll know further going on along. Okay, so moving over into the cabbages, and this is my second planting of cabbages. Obviously, you can see we harvested the first one. Okay, so the second ones are looking good. There is my coil, again, north of 2 purple cabbages and green cabbages, south of the other 2. Is it making a difference? These cabbages were a little smaller. They have now grown up to be the same size as everything else, as you can see through there. Okay. The difference that I'm seeing on these, and mind you, they were all planted at the same time, watered the same way, fertilized the same way. The ones here aren't starting to head yet. The other ones are. So jury's out on this. The leaves on the red cabbage are almost the size of the other ones. The leaves on the green cabbage, as you can see, this one is a lot smaller than on that one. So jury's out. I'm going to try to do this one kind of quick because I'm watering here, so I don't want to get soaking wet, get the camera wet. But we put the coil there in front of the 2 weakest tomatoes. They are still the 2 smallest tomatoes. If you look over there, that one is, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. That one's 2 feet tall. Those haven't even got to be a foot tall yet. So, getting wet. Sorry. We'll move back around here. The joys of trying to do YouTube and try to get work done at the same time. I put a coil in amongst my black beans. No germination to speak of. No coils, almost fully germinated. On this side of the garden, we put the coil nearest the smallest tomato. It is still the smallest tomato. So I have not seen any sort of effect on this one at all. Okay, so moving over to the cantaloupe. If you remember, I put 2 coils here. So let's flip this. You'll see I put 1 to the south side of that one, not looking good. And then there's 1 coil to the south side of that one that's not looking good. That one looks good. However, on the other side, I'm looking at, and these came straight from seed. This side, the north ones. These are doing better than the ones with the coils on them. And the ones with coils were seedlings. So these have caught up to the seedlings that had coils. Moving over to the jalapenos. This is where it gets interesting. I put 2 coils in here. It did not help germination on any of them. Now the 3 that survived are doing well. But we had 1, 2, 3, 4 dead. That one's nearly dead. So not seeing anything significant improvement on those. Finally, on my banana peppers, okay, and we have a coil right there, tipped over a little bit because I just watered. I'm going to say the jury's out on that. The biggest plant is that one right there, okay, which is near the coil, out of what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 1 didn't make it, okay. However, they are producing peppers more on this side than they are on that side. So the jury's out at this point on my. So 2 weeks in, what are my completely unscientific results at this point? At this point, I'd say I'm seeing no benefit whatsoever in the growth of the plant. The ones that were smaller before are still smaller. The ones with the cantaloupe, maybe you could say it was actually detrimental. I don't know. The positive that I'd say is I'm seeing more peppers, at least starts, on the ones near the coils than away from the coils. Now, ultimately, that's our goal, is to grow food. I don't care, per se, if my plants are smaller, if they're producing more and strong enough to hold the plants. Right now, as of 2 weeks, I'm going to say the jury's still out on whether electroculture works for me. Okay, and again, this is going to be different for everybody else. You got to do your own experiment. What I do doesn't always work for everybody else. What you do doesn't always work for me. Right now, I'd say jury's out. I'm not sold at this point. I won't be making more of these, but we'll see. Maybe my mind will be changed going forward if my harvests are better or whatever. But you guys wanted to know what the electroculture looked like so far. Asked me a couple of times, and I figured I'd show you. There are my real-time results, and we'll keep following them. Pinball out.